Hello everybody, I am Günay Nağıyeva. I am an English teacher at Nacjon State University. Today I will explain you phrasal verbs, and phrasal verbs are very common in English, and today I will give you some and also detailed information about phrasal verbs. Firstly, you should know that phrasal verbs consist of two parts. Then the first one is verb, of course, and then we add particles. Particles can be either prepositions or adverbs. And of course, we can also see phrasal verbs both with prepositions or adverbs. And there are many of them in English. And for my search, for my doing research, I found more than 5,000 phrasal verbs, which is especially used in English while talking or speaking, also writing. And here I'll give you also some explanation about their parts. Of course, phrasal verbs are divided into two parts. You can see transitive and intransitive. Transitive phrasal verbs are followed by a direct object, and it means that we always see them with a direct object. For example, fill in, which is very common phrasal verb, as you see, and you know maybe the meaning of this word. And we can say fill in the blanks. Here the blanks is a direct object, so we say it's a transitive phrasal verb. So of course, differently from transitive phrasal verbs, intransitive phrasal verbs do not require any direct object. It means that we can never see any direct object with intransitive phrasal verbs. For example, wake up. Wake up is an intransitive phrasal verb because it's never used by any direct object. We can say she wakes up early in the morning. So there is not any direct object in the sentence. That's why it is intransitive phrasal verb. Next, yes, transitive verbs. When we are talking about transitive verbs, it's also divided into two parts, which are separable and inseparable. So let's get started. When we are talking about separable transitive verbs, they are usually separated into two parts. So, and of course, in this sentence, when we use separable phrasal verbs, we need a direct object. It can be both maybe object pronoun or other verbs which are the function with object in the sentence. So let's look at this example. Turn off the computer. Turn off the computer. Or we can say turn the computer off. Here it can be seen from the sentence that we can also use turn off with together. Then also we can use it in a separated form. So here computer, the computer is a direct object. It's a noun, however, it's functioned by object. So here we say turn off the computer or turn the computer off. Here it's we say this phrasal verb, which is turn off, is a separable phrasal verb. Then next, and differently from separable phrasal verbs, inseparable phrasal verbs cannot be separated. For example, we can see in this sentence that I look after her dog. Yes, it is possible to say it because it's a correct form. However, we cannot say I look her dog after. Why? Because look after is an inseparable phrasal verb. That's why they cannot separate it. So we only say I look after her dog. So, inseparable words are always used together. Then, of course, there are, as I mentioned before, there are object pronouns or other verbs. They can be pronouns or nouns. And when we use them with separable phrasal verbs, we should pay attention to their roles in the sentence. For example, I choose an example for this sentence. Switch the light on. You know, switch on is always used with the light or maybe other electronic devices. So here, switch the light on or switch on the light. Here I made a mistake. It should be on. Sorry for my mistake. So switch on the light or switch the light on. Both of them are correct. And then when we are saying switch it on, it shouldn't be switch on it, because if we use direct object, it should be in the middle of the sentence. So we cannot say switch on it. That's why we should use a direct object in the middle. So next, also I want to give some definitions which are advanced phrasal verbs. So phrasal verbs are very interesting indeed, and it is my students' favorite topic. And for example, I want to add some phrasal verbs which are not in my slide. For example, the phrasal verbs related to look are very popular, and they are mostly used phrasal verbs in English. For example, we can say look for, look after, look like, look forward to, then look out, and look down or look up. All of them are very common phrasal verbs, and probably you know their meanings. They are very common phrasal verbs, and everybody, let's say mostly everybody know them. However, I have found some advanced phrasal verbs. Also, maybe some of you know their meanings, but also the majority of my audience, I know they are new for them. So let's begin to revise them. Here I chose 5 advanced phrasal verbs, and they are listed down below. The first one is knock off. The second one, wind somebody up. The third one, hash out. Fourth, chip in. The fifth and final, make something out. And I'll give their explanation one by one. So let's get started. The word of knock, you know this word, we always use this this verb with the door, which means firstly you knock on the door and then you enter the room. And of course, I want to give some bonus about knock. Here CK always is pronounced like K, knock. And here when we use K and N together, in this case we don't pronounce K because K is not pronounced here. So that's why we say knock. And when it comes to our today's advanced phrasal verb knock off, you should know that when we add off to the verb of knock, it means finish, finishing something. For example, this advanced phrasal verb is always used in the context of work. For example, I can say, I knock off at 5:30 p.m. So here I also can substitute this sentence with finish. It means that I finish my work at 5:30 p.m. So the second phrasal verb, which is wind up. Of course, wind, you know that is a type of weather condition. For example, of course, we are now in autumn season, and we can say that the strong wind blows outside. However, here, wind up means to end something. let's wind up our work. And when we are saying wind somebody up, if we use a direct object, we should make somebody understand to annoy or upset someone. So here, he winds me up every time means that he annoys me or upsets me every time. That's why here it changes its meaning when we are adding any preposition. Of course, when we add any direct object, it also changes its meaning. So here, wind up and winds me up are different phrasal verbs. So the third one is hash. Hash is a kind of food which is cooked, and of course you can see hashtags in social media, for example, and in this context it refers to spatial data. And here my today's explanation about one of our advanced phrasal verb, which is hash out. Hash out means agree on something by talking. For example, it also can be the synonym with see eye to eye. Of course, see eye to eye is an idiom here. So if we are talking about idioms, it also should be talked about idiom. Idioms are very interesting collocations or word combinations. When they come together, they just lose their literal meaning and they give the figurative meaning. And here, when it comes to hash out, as I mentioned before, means agree on something by talking. So here we can use it our sentence like, we hashed out our next plans. It means that we came together, we talked about our plans, and we agreed on our next plans. So here, hashed out means agreed on something with someone by talking. Then the first one, which is chip in. Firstly, I want to explain you what is chip. Of course, you know that chip is a type of cooked potato, which is different in British and American English. Why I say so? Because as you know, English is divided into two places. The first one is British English, then American English. Of course, in British English, words are so, let's say, shaped. I mean, they are systematic, or maybe they are more formal. When it comes to American English, of course, they are different from British English. So when we are saying chip, they can be in different meaning. And so here, the phrasal verb of chip in is used in the meaning of interfere someone to add ideas. What does it mean? Of course, interfere is a verb, but chip in is a phrasal verb, and we can say it's a substitute meaning. And for example, if someone chip in your talking or your speech, it means that he wants to give or share some ideas with you about any topic. So in my explanation, in my example, I gave the sentence like, he chipped in the speech. It means that he wanted to give any additional information about speech or any topic. Then, finally, the last but not least phrasal verb is make something out. Of course, make has lots of meanings in English. The first one can be the synonym with do. For example, doing something. For example, we can share our ideas about make, for example, make up or make a decision, maybe make a noise. All of them are collocations because their root is the same, which is make. If you do something with make, it means that you want to do or to create something or someone. Especially we use this verb with coffee or tea. If you say you make tea, you make coffee, they are again collocations. When it comes to this advanced phrasal verb, which means to clarify something by seeing or hearing. And for example, I say, I didn't make this slide out, or I didn't make out an article he wrote. There are different explanations, different sentences, but the meaning is the same. So that's why we say make out means to clarify something by seeing or hearing. It means, in fact, you observe something deeply. That's why we say it's clarification indeed. So also I want to give explanation about other phrasal verbs. Their root is the same with make. For example, if you say make up, it means that you try to just correct something. If you just quarreled with your sister and then finally you began to make it up, it means that you are again just to talk or speak with your sister. And then I can also give you some phrasal verbs which can be get on well. Get on well, here you see get on well. You have here firstly preposition and adverb. If you just remember, I said that phrasal verbs in fact consist of two parts. The first part is verb and the second part is particle. Here in this part, in this phrasal verb, get on well, here on is a preposition and then well is an adverb. But they have the different meaning. Get on well means that you get along with your sister, your sibling, it can be your friend or your family member. So you say, we get on well with my sister because we never fight or we never have any quarrel. That's why it's just phrasal verb which is highly used in English. And I say, also can speak about other phrasal verbs. For example, here we said about other advanced phrasal verbs. For example, here we said the make something out and I added make up, which is also phrasal verb. And then I also want to talk about turn off and turn on, and then switch on and switch off. If you don't know the difference between them, you should know that we always use switch on or switch off with the light. For example, please switch the light on before you go, switch on the light off before you go to bed. And however, turn off or turn on is very different from this. We say that, for example, turn off the computer before you leave the house. Here we say there are some distinctions between these phrasal verbs. And of course, they are not all of them. And you know, a few minutes ago, I talked about the phrasal verbs with the related with look. Here, look after, you know that it's taking care of something or someone. For example, you can use this in your own sentence that maybe when I go on vacation, my neighbor looks after my dog or my cat. Also, look after can be the synonym with take care of. Then look like. Look like means resemble someone. And for example, everybody say that I look like my mother. But here look like, of course, is resembling because of your appearance. And if we are talking about character, we can say take after. Everybody says that I look like my mother, but I take after my father. It means that you look like your mother because of your appearance, but you take after your father because of your character. So they are also very interesting phrasal verbs. And if you are talking about looking forward to, it means that you wait somebody or something patiently. For example, we can say, I am looking forward to the new year. And of course, there is a bonus from me. And if you use the look forward to, you should know that after looking forward to, you should use the verb with ing. For example, of course, you know that after infinitive, we should write the simple verb form. However, there are some exceptions in English that the look forward to is one of them. If you use look forward to, you should use the verb with ing. For example, I can say that I am looking forward to hearing from you soon. It's very common word which is mostly used in emails. For example, after writing some emails, you can also make note in the end of your email that this person will know that they just wait your answer or reply very impatiently. So here I talked about transitive verbs. In transitive verbs, separable and inseparable phrasal verbs. Of course, 5 advanced phrasal verbs maybe you haven't heard before. I think this lesson will be very helpful for you. So it's the end of my lesson. See you later.